Well, good morning, fellow sufferers. This is George McClellan at the 10 o'clock hour at FetcherNews.com, North Georgia's only live, online, internet TV talk show. I am George McClellan. We are coming to you from Gilmer County in the city of LJ in North Georgia, up here in the North Georgian mountains. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Had some rain last night, but this morning the sun is out. The air is, while it's not cold, it's cool. You don't need a heavy coat. I saw a fella running around this morning as Georgians do, in shorts and short shirt and sleeve shirt. He wasn't affected by it, or if he was, he wasn't showing it. Anyway, beautiful weather. We're going to have some cold weather coming in tonight, I understand, but no storm to follow it. But it's such a great time. I'm so optimistic after that election, and I attended a function last night where there were only two people of the Democrat bent, and if they voted, it didn't show up in the polls. It was the atmosphere of everybody in this place, business people and families, was so upbeat. And the thing is, nobody talks about it; they just know it. And when you know it and you feel it and you move on, it's a great atmosphere. It was a wonderful party last night. No one went home out of control. We had a lot of good stuff to eat. And anyway, that was it. We even had a Scottish fiddler, a friend of mine from another association that I belong to, and another fellow, a Scotsman actually, who read an interesting Christmas poem written by Tolstoy. And so it was a good party. It was a good party. But every day, there's something new in the news to talk about, and I'd like to correct the idea that it's new in the news. It's not. It's new in the fake news, but it has to be discussed, because if you don't know that it's fake, like Sheriff Clark pointed out in that little video you saw last hour with BKP, then you're never going to really understand what our problems are. The left, the Communist Party of America is in total disarray. And it was shocking to me how thin, absolutely thin, their ranks are. They have nobody. There's nobody there who can pick up the reins of leadership in that party. Nancy Pelosi, for God's sake, she's my age. And she has a failure, an abject failure. These people stand up there, and the left-wing media, the FNN, the fake news networks, support her, support the Democrat message, and now the attack is on sites like Grayson's that they talked about, and Fox, and probably Fetcher News one of these days, get us out of the way. The headline here says there will not be a rebellion inside the Electoral College. Let's examine that for a minute. There are several people, a dozen, including one Republican, who said they simply cannot vote for Trump. Well, that's not their right or opinion to do that. They have to vote the way the voters in their state gave them the authority to vote. The article says some in Washington and others on social media are speculating that Donald Trump-elect is on the cusp of a tidal wave of, and I like this, faithless electors. What a lovely term that is, faithless, defecting from their pledges. Well, first off, who is defecting from their pledges? Certainly Hillary Clinton and her campaign, Bernie Sanders and his campaign, Romney, John Kasich is still a holdout. He still was anybody but Trump. So we have a lot of people who have defected from the campaign. They tried to extract a pledge from Donald Trump that he would respect whoever was elected president. Donald Trump wisely said, "I will if it's me." And now they took the pledge to support the candidate for president. And by golly, it ain't them. It was Donald Trump. And now what are they doing? They're trying to bring Donald Trump down. The electoral process is one of them. The notion of not voting the electoral process to sustain Trump If it's narrow, it gives them the left an ability to say, well, it's not a mandate, and he's illegitimate, and everything is necessary to undermine confidence in his government. The thing about his government, of course, is it's his government. It's not Paul Ryan's government. Paul Ryan and Mitch McConnell, they are now relegated to trying to figure out what Trump is going to do next, because he's going to sweep right past him. Granted, it takes the Congress passes the bills and the president signs or vetoes them. Got that. I understand that. But politics is an ugly thing, or it's a beautiful thing, depending on what side you're on. Anti-Trump forces are advancing efforts to invalidate his election, and that's not going to happen in the only venue that matters, which is, as we said, the Electoral College. When the Electoral College meets, what is today, 13th and 14th? Yep. 5 days, when the Electoral College meets on the 19th, in each separate state, of course, and there's 50 plus there's the territories. There may be some defectors, but that tradition is nearly as old as the Republic. And Trump's electoral majority is simply too large for a faithless elector rebellion to cause him to lose the election. Now, those faithless electors are identified. They know who they are, we know who they are, and I would hate to be a Republican who votes against Donald Trump as an elector in any state, because he or she will have left a message on Facebook or out there in the public face that will be devastating to them personally. A faithless elector is someone who breaks their promise, so that means they have no integrity. These are people without integrity. Oh, they'll claim, oh, I have integrity. Oh, Trump is this, that, and the other thing, but he's also the elected candidate for president-elect. That is what he is. So it's not their decision. A faithless elector, someone who breaks their promise, votes for the other guy. There are different ways of counting faithless electors, but using a fairly liberal definition yields 157 faithless electors throughout the history of American elections, 254 years or so. While it is not that uncommon to have one faithless elector, those who oppose Trump would need 37 to overcome his election victory. The most recent faithless elector occurred in Minnesota in 2004, when an anonymous elector cast a vote for John Edwards and not for John Kerry for president. It isn't clear whether this was an intentional vote or the guy was just drunk and didn't know what he was doing. But in any event, those things happen, I guess. But it surprised me he's anonymous. On Monday, Hillary Clinton's top advisor, John Podesta, be talking more about John in a minute, he said the campaign is supporting an effort by 10 electors who are demanding a request to see intelligence briefings. That intelligence briefing idea came from one elector in California. Guess who it was? Nancy Pelosi's daughter. Nancy Pelosi's daughter. These people don't have clearances for that. To see intelligence briefings, they've got to have a top secret or higher security clearance, not even a secret, a top secret or higher security. That's not going to happen. That's simply not going to happen. And they know it's not going to happen. They realize, they all know it's going to happen. One of the 10 electors is Democrat Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi's daughter. Well, how about that? Trump won 306 electoral votes in the election. All it was needed was 270 to defeat Hillary and claim the White House, but a group of rogue electors from Colorado and Washington, they call them the Hamilton electors, is trying to persuade others to unite behind a Republican alternative to Trump. My question is, who? Who is it? Not John Kasich. Cannot possibly be John Kasich. Technically, electors could abandon their commitments, but technically ruins their reputations. Anybody who is an elector and votes opposite the way his state wants him to elect, cast that vote, that person's reputation should be challenged and shattered forever in disgrace. I absolutely believe that. It is illegal in 29 states for an elector to disregard his vow, but the penalty for it's minor. And the constitutionality of law is in doubt, so that's something that may have to be addressed sometime, but it has to be addressed state by state, not federally. There are so many barriers to electors overturning elections that it is literally impossible to imagine that it could happen anyway. So why are we having this discussion? To take our eyes off of the other problems facing Trump's administration, who's going to run his government, but this is fake news. This is an example of fake news. And so much for that. We'll go on to the next story because I don't want to waste my time talking about that. Trump allies want Sykes, S-Y-K-E-S, want Sykes off of the Supreme Court nominee list. That's interesting, and I'm not sure whether that's a fake news item or not, but it should be examined. One of President Trump's elect conservative allies has placed a target on Judge Diane Sykes, seeking to prevent her from being nominated to the Supreme Court. Diane Sykes, let's find out. She is a judge for the Seventh Court of Appeals. She won praise from conservatives and libertarians alike since Trump named her to the short list of 21 candidates, and that was he did that before he even got the nomination. Andy Schaffeley, an Eagle Forum lawyer and son of the late conservative stalwart Phyllis Schaffeley, is working to stop that, to thwart that nomination. Let's find out why. Schaffeley is circulating a list of unacceptable Supreme Court candidates on Trump's list, whom he has deemed not sufficiently pro-life. There we are, pro-life. And he told the Washington Examiner that he has built a coalition of support from 70 like-minded organizations. Sykes is at the top of the list, which includes judges Stephen Colton, and that's 2 L's, Joan Larson, Neil Gorsuch, Raymond Kethridge, and Allison Eid. Sykes has a pro-choice record. Schaffeley mentioned, I don't know why she's even on the list. Pro-choice, in this case, the nominations that Trump picks for the Supreme Court will be voted on by the Senate. Advice and consent, up or down vote. There'll be some discussion about it. America is filled with people who do not want to see babies murdered. And they call it, it's been hidden for so many years under the guise of women's choice. Sounds good. A woman has the choice to kill her baby or not. Is that it? No. She has a choice whether to be happy or not. And she can't be happy carrying the burden of an unborn child. That is what we've been fed since Roe versus Wade, a woman's choice. But it's not in the Constitution anywhere, although the Supreme Court legitimized it. So we're saddled with Roe versus Wade. But there are a lot of complications to this. Lots of complications to this. Already the world, the nature of growing up in this world by humans is to defeat diseases that wipe them out. Great vast swaths of Europeans died during two separate epidemics of the Black Plague. In our time was the flu epidemic that killed millions of Americans. And these people die away and they're gone. The population has to be, there is a point where the population of any country, when combined with the population of other countries, overtaxes the ability of the world to support them. The lead off of that is you have these giant agricultural companies sucking up small farms and converting them into one big conglomerate with their modified, genetically modified products. They feed the world. I sound like I'm supporting this. You go down the freeway on any given day trying to go to work, and you realize there's too damn many cars on the road. And why? Because there's one person in each car. There's a solution to these things, these problems. Is there too many people in the world? Well, have you ever been to India? Or have you ever been to China? Or the Philippine Islands? Or Vietnam? I'll say right off, I haven't been to Vietnam. Those places are overcrowded with people who need jobs, need to feed their own families. India is a good example. You just drive down the street, and the streets are littered with makeshift little lean-tos, and for people sleeping under them to stay out of the rain and the heat and the smog and the fog. And I'm being signaled it's time to find out about pizza and cars. So we'll see you on the other side.
Looking for in a vehicle, start your search at Schottenkirk Ford Jasper. We've simplified the process so you can move on to what matters, your family.
Hello, my name is Chad Watkins. I'm the manager at Larry's Body Shop. We are a family-owned and operated business and have been serving the North Georgia area since 1978. We are located at 1216 Progress Road in LOJ, Georgia. Our shop specializes in collision repair, and we work with all major insurance companies. Larry's Body Shop is ICAR Gold, the highest role of training recognized by the collision repair industry. It is estimated that only 10% of collision shops meet these standards. Our shop consists of state-of-the-art equipment such as laser measurement system, down-drive spray booth, spot and MIG welding equipment. All of our paints are mixed on site so that we can guarantee your paint to match every time. I know that having an accident can be a stressful event. We take pride in making sure our customers are satisfied with the repair of their vehicles. Our waiting area is clean and comfortable with free Wi-Fi and refreshing beverages. So if you're in an accident, stop by and see us at Larry's Body Shop.
Pizza Hut makes the best pizza in the entire universe, but they won't tell you that. I've been marooned on this planet for a while now. You are an impressive race. Your children know excellent hiding places. Your oceans aren't filled with lava. And you figured out how to combine a grilled cheese sandwich with a Pizza Hut pizza. Surely interstellar travel will soon follow, and then I can finally get back home. Round. Round like home. The grilled cheese stuffed crust pizza, proof that no one out-pizzas the Hut.
North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds. Come on in to view the area's largest selection of fine jewelry at North Georgia Diamond. All repairs and designs are done on-site by our jewelers. And North Georgia Diamond has the lowest prices on loose diamonds. You can also sell your gold, silver, and coins at North Georgia Diamond between Walmart and Lowe's in East LJ. Locally owned by Bill and Allison Craig, North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds in North Georgia.
Better days ahead. This is the big one. The 20% off MSRP model year-end clearance at Days Chevrolet in Jasper. With huge savings over $3,600 off the redesigned Malibu. Now just $20,400. Save over $8,600 off Silverado Crew Cab LT. Now just $33,500. 20% off new Chevys. Right here, right now. At Days Chevrolet in Jasper.
Better days ahead. Days Chevrolet.
Find new roads.
El Rey and Ellijay.
El Rey Mexican Restaurant.
Family owned and operated and a local favorite for families, parties, and meetings.
Great prices.
Friendly service and delicious Mexican cuisine.
Patio dining available.
Come sing in Carlos's Cantina every Friday 9 to 1.
Eat in or take away.
Same location for 14 years. Open 7 days at the corner of Maddox Drive and 515. North Georgia's favorite Mexican cuisine. El Rey in Elgin.
Pizza Hut makes great pizza, but they can't tell you what a gift it is. I can. They took a grilled cheese and combined it with stuffed crust pizza. To think, I almost wasn't here to try it.
How did you?
It's not important, Jan. What's important is that I watched the sunrise this morning. Then I got to stand in a room filled with this pizza. And later I'll stare at the ocean. Or maybe I'll learn Russian. Or listen to jazz. Or try my hand at needlework. Or open a door for a beautiful woman. Or read a human interest story or make dessert wine. Or ride a wild horse. Or experiment with watercolors. Eat every slice like it's your last. Especially you, Doug. Especially Doug, right? You care about Doug. The grilled cheese stuffed crust pizza. Proof that no one outpieces the Hut.
What you gonna do with all that junk?
Well, welcome back, fun lovers. This is George McClellan at FetcherNews.com, North Georgia's only live internet talk show. I can be reached at 706-889-9700. I was talking about the son of Phyllis Schlafly opposing Judge Sykes, and I'll give you his two reasons why he opposes her. And has to do with sentencing pro-life protesters to jail, and striking down a law that defunded Planned Parenthood in Indiana on the surface. Sounds like we could agree with that. The examiner, Sykes, said that the 60-day jail sentence for the protesters was harsh. That's an opinion, simply opinion. And argued that she should have allowed the defunding of Planned Parenthood. That's an opinion. I'm going to a point here where my thinking is a law is a law. And you might disagree with the objective or even the ruling of the law. That can be changed in a jury trial. A jury can actually say that, well, that law doesn't make any sense anyway, and vote to acquit somebody. That can happen, but here's not the place to do it. Or if you're ordered by the police to not block a street, then you should get out of the street. Arrests for those are legitimate. Confronting the policeman, that's legitimate. But if he tells you to get the hell out of the way, or he's going to thump you on the head, then get out of the way. Don't allow yourself to be arrested and go to jail for something that will be out of people's minds an hour later. There's no subtlety in discrimination. There's no subtlety in protesting. It's got to be planned like a military operation. Anyway, as a trial judge in 1993, Sykes sentenced two protesters to 60 days in jail for their actions in a protest that shut down an abortion clinic, not for the content of their message. And I can't disagree with that. Are you signaling to me something? Yes, sir. Well, don't wave your hands around. Please, thank you. At Sykes' nomination proceedings to the Seventh Circuit Court, then Illinois Senator Dick Durbin objected to Sykes' handling of the case from a position opposite Mr. Schlafly. Durbin claimed that Sykes told the protesters, "I do respect you a great deal for having the courage of your convictions and for the ultimate goals that you sought to achieve by this conduct." There's just a difference of opinion. What does the law say? I think that she made her sentences in accordance to the law, not in accordance to how the Democrats feel about a subject. In the Planned Parenthood of Indiana versus the Commissioner of Indiana State's Department of Health, Sykes ruled for the Seventh Circuit Court that a federal Medicaid law trumped an Indiana law that blocked state or federal funds to any organization that performed abortions. Well, then she did exactly what she was supposed to do. She followed the law and ruled accordingly. She did not make law. That's for the legislatures to do. And that's all I'm going to say on that. So I think that Sykes would be a good I would not object to her on those 2 points. She seems like a person who follows the law. That's paramount. If we're not a country of laws and we obey our laws, then we're going to be a country of anarchy, which is where we've been headed throughout Obama's term and even before. Now then, let's move on to another subject of grave importance. No matter who was elected president, Trump or Clinton, no matter who, are going to face economic problems that are almost all but insurmountable, I think. And this analysis comes from Weiss Research in Florida. The 2 biggest debt caverns, and that's how he described it, holes, big holes in the ground, in the world. It's not the so-called massive debt problem in China. Now think of this, China. When you talk about China, the stories of the ghost cities there, I mean, China spent so much money building cities with skyscrapers and apartments and everything. Nobody lives there. China's debt problems are largely a myth in the sense that China is still a closed economy. It's still a communist economy, although they've opened Pandora's box and Chinese know how to make money. It's still a closed economy and a closed monetary system, regardless of what they want to do, or they tell the world what they want to do with the yuan. So a communist economy where it's largely the state owning everything. Debts can be extinguished in China by the stroke of a pen. Think about that. That's the way the Chinese economy runs. The U.S. sovereign debt crisis. We talk about the U.S. sovereign debt crisis. Let's talk about that a little more. Washington is officially in debt to the tune of almost, or if not actually, into $20 trillion, plus as much as other $200 trillion in unofficial debts in IOUs. $200 trillion? You can't even imagine that. The Congress has raided Medicare accounts. They have raided Social Security trust funds. They have raided every pot of money that has been established for the benefit of Americans. And one of them is the retirement funds. They don't talk about the retirement funds. It's so bad that the 30-year U.S. Treasury has already had its worst decline in 26 years, shedding as much as 19% of its value in the last 5 months. Almost 20%, 1/5 of its value has been lost in the last 5 months, with the yield soaring from 0.2009, which is 3%, to 3.16, a huge 50.5% jump in that same period. So much pain is coming in the sovereign debt markets of Europe, Japan, and us, U.S. It'll be like a nuclear holocaust wipeout of tens of trillions of dollars of wealth. But there's also more potential hit. And that's watching your state and municipal pension funds get gutted. We already see it. California's already started that. California has already started that. San Bernardino, my hometown, their pension fund is almost empty. Fresno a few years ago had the same problem. Everybody has this problem. Texas has this problem. Dallas had to cut back on their pension fund for police and fire, and that was in the news. We talked about it on this show a month or so ago. Currently in deficit by at least $1.3 trillion, the state and local pension deficits are headed into their deathbeds, and it will take nothing short of a miracle to turn them around. That is what research says. Based on assumptions of achieving returns of roughly 6 to 8% for years on end, they've been returning less than 1% in reality. The gap between those figures is bleeding pensions to death, and will soon cause a massive, as they put it, coronary heart attack that will reverberate through state and local pensions. Now think about that for a moment. You have a young family man out here whose job is a police officer in some city, some state, somewhere in America, and his pension goes toes up. Is he going to want to continue to be a policeman in a job that he will not realize the promise made to him? Is he going to be willing to stand up and face protesters in the street at a Planned Parenthood facility, for example, or a Black Lives Matter group on the chance that he could get injured or killed? And people's thoughts change. Always follow the money. Always follow the money. Wiping out police retirements, teachers' retirements, public service retirements of all kinds. That's what's coming. Government employees. You want a sneak peek at what's going to look like in the cause? Simply look at the ongoing Greek labor unions and their protests over wages, pensions, and labor agreements, which are now ramping up in big time. Greece they had their problem that was in the news a year ago, but they haven't fallen off the map. They're still out there, and they still have their problems. Gains of up to $75,000 every month with frequent profits based on events guaranteed to happen. Well, what happens is if you don't have a pension and you're not saving for yourself, you have nothing. You have nothing. These people are peddling the plan. I'm not going to peddle the plan for you, but I'm going to use their statistics because there's other groups who say about the same thing. California and Illinois, where withdrawals from pensions and employee exiting the system are taking what money they can now and heading for the hills in record number. Is it any wonder that Americans have gotten angry? Is it any wonder Europeans are doing the same? The European Union is absolutely on the verge of collapse. Brexit started it. I think either France or Italy may be next there because they can't pay their people either. The pensions are gone. And politicians have raided those pots of money for their own pet projects. And now comes hordes of Muslims into their countries who demand to be fed and housed, and they're being fed and housed. And where's that money coming from? Oh, here's a pot over here in the pension fund. Let's use it. Anyway, the writer of this article, he's telling us that the power of large macroeconomic cycles, and those economic cycles are proven over and over and over again. I mean, this company, believe it or not, absolutely has predicted successfully the Depression in 1928, 29, the 2008, everything's in a cycle. Believe it or not, everything is cyclical. The only thing not cyclical is the fact that politicians who create these problems are taking more money out of the pot, and it's not their money. It's not their money. And speaking of money, we've got to make some more so we can carry on this little show. So we'll have a few words from our sponsors, and then we'll see you on the other side.
matter what you're looking for in a vehicle, start your search at Schottenkirk Ford Jasper. We've simplified the process so you can move on to what matters, your family.
Hello, my name is Chad Watkins. I'm the manager at Larry's Body Shop. We are a family-owned and operated business and have been serving the North Georgia area since 1978. We are located at 1216 Progress Road in LOJ, Georgia. Our shop specializes in collision repair and we work with all major insurance companies. Larry's Body Shop is ICAR Gold, the highest role of training recognized by the collision repair industry. It is estimated that only 10% of collision shops meet these standards. Our shop consists of state-of-the-art equipment such as laser measurement system, down-drive spray booth, spot and MIG welding equipment. All of our paints are mixed on site so that we can guarantee your paint to match every time. I know that having an accident can be a stressful event. We take pride in making sure our customers are satisfied with the repair of their vehicles. Our waiting area is clean and comfortable with free Wi-Fi and refreshing beverages. So if you're in an accident, stop by and see us at Larry's Body Shop.
Pizza Hut makes the best pizza in the entire universe, but they won't tell you that. I've been marooned on this planet for a while now. You are an impressive race. Your children know excellent hiding places. Your oceans aren't filled with lava. And you figured out how to combine a grilled cheese sandwich with a Pizza Hut pizza. Surely interstellar travel will soon follow. And then I can finally get back home. Round. Round like home. The grilled cheese stuffed crust pizza, proof that no one out-pizzas the Hut.
North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds. Come on in to view the area's largest selection of fine jewelry at North Georgia Diamond. All repairs and designs are done on site by our jewelers. And North Georgia Diamond has the lowest prices on loose diamonds. You can also sell your gold, silver, and coins at North Georgia Diamond between Walmart and Lowe's in East LJ. Locally owned by Bill and Allison Craig, North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds in North Georgia.
Better days ahead.
This is the big one, the 20% off MSRP model year-end clearance at Days Chevrolet in Jasper, with huge savings over $3,600 off the redesigned Malibu. Now just $20,400. Save over $8,600 off Silverado Crew Cab LT. Now just $33,500. 20% off new Chevys. Right here, right now, at Days Chevrolet in Jasper.
Better days ahead. Days Chevrolet.
Find new roads.
El Rey and Ellijay.
El Rey Mexican Restaurant.
Family owned and operated and a local favorite for families, parties, and meetings.
Great prices.
Friendly service and delicious Mexican cuisine.
Patio dining available.
Come sing in Carlos's Cantina every Friday 9 to 1.
Eat in or take away.
Same location for 14 years. Open 7 days at the corner of Maddox Drive and 515. North Georgia's favorite Mexican cuisine. El Rey and Ellijay.
Pizza Hut makes great pizza, but they can't tell you what a gift it is. I can. They took a grilled cheese and combined it with stuffed crust pizza. To think, I almost wasn't here to try it.
How did
It's
you?
not important, Jan. What's important is that I watched the sunrise this morning. Then I got to stand in a room filled with this pizza. And later I'll stare at the ocean. Or maybe I'll learn Russian. Or listen to jazz. Or try my hand at needlework. Or open a door for a beautiful woman. Or read a human interest story or make dessert wine. Or ride a wild horse. Or experiment with watercolors. Eat every slice like it's your last. Especially you, Doug. Especially Doug, right? You care about Doug. The grilled cheese stuffed crust pizza. Proof that no one outpieces the Hut.
What you gonna do with all that junk?
Well, welcome back, fellow sufferers. George McClellan here at FetchYourNews.com, North Georgia's only live TV internet talk show, 706-889-9700. If you want to talk to me, I've got the wherewithal to have a conversation. We've talked a lot of subjects, but news is changing, at least events are changing. Interesting. Here's something that came up, and I don't know if I can put this in the fake news, but the Democratic National Committee contractor for their emails dismissed FBI warnings about hackers as a prank. That gives you an idea of where those people were going. Trump dares the Senate GOP Senate to reject his choice for Secretary of State, which is Rex Tillerson. And now there's controversy over Rex Tillerson. Why? There should be none. Only because the people that Trump is putting in to his cabinet are people who's going to drain the swamp. They are going to drain the swamp, and they're pulling the plug. If you've been watching the war news, you'll know that the Syrian government has now all but taken Aleppo. It's one of the few cities in the world where I haven't actually been, or even close to it. But Aleppo is now back in Syrian hands. Remember the red line Obama drew, and his determination was to replace, mind you, the Syrian government. Well, that hasn't happened. It simply has not happened. And now the Syrian government, with Russian control, is calling the shots. Aleppo has fallen. The Syrian government will still be there. Assad, they'll be there through Trump's term, 1 or 2, how many? Nothing's going to change over there. Nothing, the only thing they can do is tear down what's left of their cities and rebuild them and hope that they can make them a little more bomb-proof. Oh, here's one we could do absolutely nothing about. NASA. NASA says that Earth is woefully unprepared for surprise comet asteroid. Well, okay, you're sitting in your car and a bullet comes through the window, you're unprepared for that too. What are we going to do about it? Why is it even worth discussing? It's out there to put fear into people. Oh, we could be wiped out by a comet. Okay, what are you going to do about it? Dig a hole in the ground and bury yourself in it? Well, that's what's going to happen anyway. Well, anyway, let's take a look at some of these things. I don't want to talk about the comet thing. The White House, and when I say the White House, I'm talking about Phil Carney, the spokesman, Josh Earnest. He took a swipe at former Texas Governor Rick Perry. Now, why would he do that? Rick Perry is Trump's choice to be Secretary of Energy. Now, the question rises. Texas is a big energy state. Perry was the longest serving governor of the state of Texas. Why do we need a Department of Energy? Why? They just meddle in the free market and they have no place to be in there and they ruin everything. Government ruins everything. Perry's in there to dismantle that organization. He knows it, Trump knows it, and so does the left. So they take a swipe at Perry, they'll go after him big time. What's irking is that Josh Earnest smirks when he does it, like he's in the know and he's a big shot. He knows things that everybody else doesn't know about these people, and yes, we can't have that. Let me tell you, Josh Earnest is going to be wandering in the field of lost hope with the rest of the Democrat Party. He was asked in the Washington press conference about President-elect Trump's request to name Energy Department officials who were involved in writing international climate accords for the Obama administration. Now, this is where this gets testy. Ernest said that he worried that if these people revealed an effort to target some of these career civil servants, he said he hoped Trump would base his judgment on merits and not on politics. No. if you're the enemy because of your political thinking as communist or socialist, you cannot be there. You got to go. He's going to drain the swamp. And to drain the swamp, you've got to get rid of people who attend these conferences and support a cause that of science that's even unproven, weird science. And that's as bad as the fake news. Ernest said, I'm sure the president-elect used the same type of criteria when he chose his new energy secretary, Governor Perry. He said, smirking. Trump met with Perry on Monday and is expected to nominate him. Well, good for him. Asked later if Trump cared to elaborate on Perry's appointment, Ernest told reporters, I think I have said enough about that. So anyway, we have a continuation of the losers heading out the door, throwing as much crap into the fan as they can. And there we are. There was one here that was interesting. He's another. Oh, would you be delighted to know that the Democrats are looking into the future, and they've come up with a plan, Biden and Sanders for 2020. How about Mondale? And GOP can resurrect Dole and put him back up there again. I think he's probably run out of Viagra by now. Public policy polling is already asking Democrats whom they would like to nominate in 2020. A lot of old faces come up. What does this show us? The Democrats, their bench is thin. There's nobody left on the playing bench. They've got 4 years to start lining people up, and they'll have another 4 years to get them in the public's face, but not as communists, socialists, Bolsheviks, any of that nonsense. They've got to make an American. Democrats have got to become an American party again, and they are not an American party. Oh my. Dianne Feinstein, I think she's retiring, isn't she? Or maybe it's Barbara Boxer's retiring from California. Senators from California. Feinstein, already she's plotting to, she complains that Senator from Alabama Sessions, who will be the new Attorney General, his Judicial Committee responses were incomplete. She's the top Democrat on the Senate Judicial Committee, and she complained that the Attorney General nominee submitted incomplete responses to a standard panel questionnaire and accused Sessions and his staff of putting together in haste, enough thought, even though it far exceeded previous nominees' responses. What are they talking about? Filling out, she's known this guy for years. What's he going to put on a piece of paper that gives her a right to complain about him being the Attorney General? He can pick Joe Crap the Rag Man out of the street and make him Attorney General. He's just got to go through the nomination process and be approved. She's called for more time to review lengthy submissions. Well, I will add this. If those people stayed in Congress and did their jobs and quit running off on these month-long vacations all the time, maybe they get some of this work done. Not bad though. The less time they spend in Washington D.C., the safer we are. The whole business is just tawdry. Oh, Ryan Zinke. It's Zinke. Has anybody heard of Ryan Zinke? I've never heard of Ryan Zinke before, but he's a retired U.S. Navy SEAL, whatever that means. Was he actually a combat Marine and shooting them up, or was he an officer or a staff type? But no, I'm not complaining. I'm just saying he's got a background. He's military, so he knows how to form battle plans. And he's also now a U.S. representative from Montana. The position, he was appointed, or will be appointed, to the position of Secretary of the Interior, according to Politico. It had been expected that Kathy McMorris Rogers, a Republican from Washington State, was going to receive that appointment, but it didn't happen. Look how many people are lined up and guessed at by the press for these jobs, and then totally somebody else is there. It's very interesting. And something else is coming, is brewing that we should know. The press has always had a pool of reporters at the White House. Their room is made for them, and Josh Earnest gets up there, or whoever, and stands there and talks to the press all the time. And now they've come to expect and demand their role in government. And Trump already knows what we have known for a long time. He also knows it, that the press is there simply to undermine whatever the administration wants to do, or support the administration if it's of a socialist bent. We've seen that time and time and time again. Trump might just say, to hell with it. I don't need these people out of here. And tell me where in the Constitution, where does it say there's a press corps, or a need for a press corps, or one is lawful, or one is required? They can line up on the street and yell questions at me as I drive out in my armored black limousine, or leave on my helicopter to go to Andrews Air Force Base. You know, there's a change coming. There's a new sheriff in town. There's a big change coming, and you can control the press. They can be controlled, and I think Trump is going to do just that. But anyway, President-elect Trump offered Montana Representative Ryan Zinke the position of Interior Secretary. He made the offer to Zinke, a retired SEAL commander, to lead the department, but the Republican has yet to accept. We'll find out. Zinke endorsed Trump in May, as far back as May, saying the New York business stuck out to him because of his politically incorrect rhetoric. Wow, I love that. The news comes as a surprise. Trump had been expected to name Kathy McMorris Rodgers, the highest-ranking woman in the GOP House leadership, to the position. A source close to McMorris Rodgers said the press reports about her expected appointment were driven by the Trump transition team. She never received an offer to be Secretary of the Interior. In a Facebook post, McMorris said, Rodgers said it was an honor to be invited to spend time with the president, but she's energized more than ever to continue leading in Congress. Well, let's hope that's the case. And here's another sad case that I have to announce to you. My hour is up. I'm being signaled this time to shut my yap and close my book and say sayonara, do svidaniya, do Virginia, that's the Serbian. Anyway, goodbye.
You'll be back tomorrow.
I'll be here tomorrow at 9:30 in the morning. For some reason, I get an extra half hour to amaze and mystify you with my erudition and words and my brilliant take on the news. Bye. See you on the other side. Y'all come back now, yeah?